Welcome to Aging in Style with me, Lori Williams. I'm an optimist by nature, and I believe you can follow your dreams at any age. My grandmother's journey with dementia ignited a passion in me to work with seniors. I've spent the past 13 years learning about seniors and aging. In my mid-50s, I followed my own dream and founded my company, where I use my expertise to help seniors locate housing and resources. On this podcast, we cover all aspects of aging. Join us each week to meet senior living experts and inspirational seniors who are following their dreams. The fact is, we're all aging, so why not do it in style? Hi, welcome back to another episode of Aging in Style with Lori Williams. Today, our topic is living life to the fullest at any age, and I have the perfect guest to talk about this. Today, we are talking to Jean Ketcham, who's the founder of Aging But Dangerous, and this is an international acclaimed movement for women focusing on healthy aging and living life dangerously with fun, spirit, and style. Jean is actually a skydiver, and I can't wait to hear about that. With her group, what they do is they inspire women age 50, 60, 70, and 80 plus to control their destinies and make their dreams come true. And the mission is to help you develop your limitless potential. So Jean has a Facebook page with 126,000 plus highly engaged social media followers. That's amazing. And then more than 7 million page views per week, thousands of newsletter subscribers, and Aging But Dangerous has been featured in Time Magazine, NBC, Minnesota Monthly, and CBS Local, among other high-profile news sources. I just wanted you to I'll hear a little bit about Jean so you know who we're talking to and be very excited to speak with her. So welcome, Jean.
Thank you, Lori. I'm so excited to be with you.
I'm excited to be with you since over the weekend I went on Facebook and I listened or watched all of your Facebook Lives, and I love all the content and all the encouragement and positivity on your site.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think it's a really important thing. It's an important thing what you're doing. You know, we got to get the word out there, Lori.
Yes, we do. So how did this idea for Aging But Dangerous come about?
Well, my good friend, my best friend and I were talking one day. We had this was like 12 years ago. So as you know, a lot has changed in 12 years. But 12 years ago, she and I were talking about our friends. Now I was 69, she was 62. But we had a lot of friends in their 50s, and they were being traumatized because they were turning 50. I mean, it was like ridiculous. And so Suzanne and I thought, we have got to start something. And they were like kind of really going into a closet. I mean, they were like, their kids back then, their kids were going off to college and they were just like alone, and they were traumatized is all I can say. And then I'll tell you a little story. Suzanne was at a party, and this was back about 15 years ago when Botox started. And so she was at this party. One of her friends was there and she had just had Botox, and Suzanne said, "Oh my gosh, you look so fabulous." And the woman said, thank you. Well, another one of their friends came up and she said, "Oh my gosh, Sue, you look fabulous. What are you doing?" And Sue said, "Oh, I got some new skincare and makeup, and, I think it's really working." And the woman walked away, and Suzanne looked at her and said, "Why didn't you tell her about the Botox?" And she said, "Well, because I don't want anyone to know." And Suzanne and I were like, no, we have to share these things. We have to share what we're going through. We have to talk about, incontinence. We have to talk about, menopause. We have to talk about if you're doing Botox or if you're doing something that's great, you want somebody to know about it. We want our friends to get in on it, So anyway, we decided that we were going to start this and really start doing some events and things to get these women communicating and get them together and get them, talking and experiencing life together. So, we set up some events. Our first event was the Martini Jump Skydive. I happen to be a martini drinker. And so we set up the Martini Jump Skydive. And Lori, the first skydive we did, we had 107 women jumping out of an airplane all day long from the age of 50 to 80.
Oh my God.
Can you believe that? Do you want to skydive, Lori?
No, I'm scared.
Well, anyway, this was like I went on TV and that Saturday morning and talked about it. And by the time I got back in the afternoon, and I swear this is the truth, there were 100 emails from women here around the Twin Cities that wanted to skydive. I was like shocked. But anyway, so we started that yearly having there. And so I am a skydiver, and I love it. But so we started our Martini Jump skydive. And then we had a big fashion show. We had this fashion show of dispelling the myths of fashion, because back then, which is still true, Lori, they are still trying to tell you what to wear, what to do after
how to
the
cut
age
your
of
hair.
Exactly. What length to wear your skirt. And I even saw on the internet, if you're over 50, these are the foods you're supposed to eat. Well, guess what? They're the same kind of food you should eat when you're 20. I mean, it has nothing to do with being 50 or over 50. So that kind of thing would just drive me crazy. So we had this big fashion show, over 500 people coming, and it was so fabulous. We did a casting call and chose women. It was really important to me to get women off the street. And I had somebody come in and taught them how to walk the runway. But I said, I don't care how, whether you're fat, skinny, I don't care, any of that stuff, but I want you to walk down that runway with attitude. I mean, you have got to have attitude. Because I think that's one of the most important things about aging, is getting that attitude, that sassy attitude. And so my daughter was about in her 40s at the time, and she comes to see the fashion show. And so one of our women models was 80, and she's a competitive ballroom dancer at the age of 80, and didn't start till she was 70. So it's a great story.
That is.
But she walks down the runway, Lori, and she has on these tight jeans, this whole T-shirt, and this cute little jacket. And Michelle looks at me and she said, "Mother, I can't believe that I want that outfit that an 80-year-old is wearing." I'm like, see, I told you so. After that, we had a big colonoscopy party, and it was great. And we saved a life. This woman her mother had died of colon cancer, and she was scared to death to get a colonoscopy. We rented this hotel down in Minneapolis and put on this big party, had all the drink there that they would drink during the night, and then they stayed in the hotel that night. And then the next morning we had limos taking them, and then Suzanne and I went to the appointments with them, and they found polyps in her, cancerous polyps, and she had them done. And so that made us feel very, very good. So the colonoscopy party was just a riot, and it was fun, and it was a fun way to get your colonoscopy. So
I love that you took something that is, no one looks forward to doing it, and you made a party out of it.
We did. It's just back to that same thing, Lori. We got to have fun, don't we?
Yes.
So I always say, and people laugh at me, but I always say this aging thing, I think is fun. And I'm, 81. So, I just have fun all the time with it.
Yeah.
Even getting the magnifying mirror, Lori, that magnifies my face like 10 times. And I was a little bit apprehensive about looking in it. And then I looked at it and I thought, oh, well, that's not so bad. I can take this. This is like kind of fun to see all these little wrinkles. And then I had cataract surgery when I turned 80, and I had always worn glasses, and then I went to contacts and I had to go back to glasses. And when I had cataract surgery, I had a special eyes that insets were worked, and I had 20/20 vision. I am not kidding you. I'm 80 years old and I've got 20/20 vision. Never in my life have I had that. And I started looking at my hands and I saw these age spots in my hands and I thought, oh my gosh, that is so cool. I really enjoyed seeing them. I can see my age spots.
That's amazing. And how fun to get, be able to have 20/20 vision. I hope that happens when I'm 80, that I have 20/20 vision and get rid of these glasses.
I know it. It really was fun. It's like, but that's what I mean about if we have the right attitude and we are positive about life, then I just think all kinds of good things can happen. But we have to have that right outlook. I have to talk a little bit about my dad, if I can.
Sure.
He lived to be 105.
Oh my gosh.
And very healthy, clear up until the end. And he skydived with me, Lori, when he was 91. And so Daddy would come up here to Minneapolis, and we had a boat out on the lake, and he'd love to go out on that boat. And so the night before we were going to go out the next day, the weather forecast the weatherman said, it's 80% chance of rain tomorrow. And I looked at Daddy and I said, Daddy, I don't think we're going to be able to go out tomorrow. I mean, 80% chance of rain. It's going to be raining. And he looked at me and he kind of winked and he said, well, let's concentrate on that 20%. And I'll be darned. If we didn't wake up the next morning, the sun shining, the sky's blue, I mean, we went out on the boat. So I think I got a lot of that from him. Maybe, he always looked at the glass, half full. He was so positive and optimistic. And I just, even when he died at 105, he said to me, I just didn't think this would happen to me. I mean, I just didn't think this would happen, Jean. And I'm like, I think he thought he'd live to be 110. But anyway.
It's so much about attitude. And, I've talked to people who they're so upset because they have to use a walker. Well, you know what? Let's look at the positive side that there is a walker. This is a way you can get around and maintain your independence. I mean, yes. You grieve not being able to walk without a walker. But you know what? Let's not stay stuck in that. Let's move forward and be positive.
Exactly. Thank you, God, that they invented a walker.
Exactly.
That you can walk on. I mean, back in the early days, women didn't have that. So I agree with you. It's, I have to say, I think one of the reasons I am so positive too is that I am in good health, and I do think about those women that aren't in such good health. But we had this post on our Facebook page a few months ago, and it said, some days you just have to make your own sunshine. And I thought, oh my gosh, I love that because I think it's true. It's just things can be really bad and it can be dreary and you down. And so, you just got to make some sunshine for yourself.
Exactly. Especially right now with COVID going on. I mean, we could easily go into a dark place, but yeah, make sunshine for yourself. So I crossed paths recently with a gentleman who shares my passion for seniors. His name is Jimmy Zolo, and he shared with me that after both of his grandparents had moved into a senior care community, his family's world was just turned upside down as they became caregivers overnight. As you know, being a caregiver to someone close to you is often overwhelming, and there's just so much for you to manage, even with the support of living in a senior care community, like making sure your loved one has all the products they need and keeping them stocked when stuff runs out. Well, Jimmy had that problem too, and he was scrolling through all of these product reviews across the internet, and like most of us in the sandwich generation, we don't have enough hours in the day, so it can end up being way too time-consuming and frustrating. He wished there was a simpler way to shop for his grandparents, and then of course the pandemic hit, which prevented visitation to the communities, making this process even more difficult. So Jimmy decided to launch his own business to solve this problem. He founded Joe and Bella to make shopping for older adults simple. They carry everything from comfy clothes to creative gifts. They even have toiletries that can be automatically reordered and tech that makes caregiving easier. And what I love, and I know y'all will love this too, is that each and every product on Joe and Bella has been carefully selected by caregiving experts. Jimmy is giving us an exclusive offer for the listeners of this podcast. You can use promo code STYLE to receive 10% off your first purchase at joeandbella.com. That's code STYLE, STYLE, for 10% off at joeandbella.com. So with, I know you're not able to do all your events right now because of COVID. So how has that changed things that you're doing? Are you doing more Facebook Lives or what have you done?
We do the Facebook Lives, but we also are getting ready to do some Zoom meetings and get more people. And then we also have a Aging But Dangerous Facebook group. That is a group of women that can post, but, back and forth, each other. And so that's good. But we are starting an Aging But Dangerous Inner Circle membership. And this may not be for everybody, but we are starting that. And that is going to be, we're really using all the technology, tools and everything, and been working on this so long. And this, as I said this morning on my live, this is something we've been working towards for 12 years. So it's going to be very exclusive and inclusive. We're going to have things on fashion and on fitness, and you're going to have private access to virtual gatherings. We're going to have cooking classes. We're going to have discounts on products, all kinds of things like that. And it is on our website, the Aging But Dangerous website. But even if you're not a member, you can still get involved if you sign up for our newsletter. and it will tell you about things you can get involved in, groups and stuff like that too. So we've had to go online and do everything just like you and, a lot of other people. We did have chapter meetings. We were going strong. We were going to open up chapters all over the United States, well, really the world, because we have followers from all over the world. But that didn't happen. COVID hit, and we had to put a halt to all that. So who knows when this is going to get calm enough that we can meet together and do stuff. So we can even have our skydive. So.
Yeah. But I love what you're offering a way for women to connect through your Facebook page, and then also take it to another level through this new Circle program that you've started. Yeah. So I think that's wonderful, because I feel like, and I'm sure you've seen this too, that people aren't able to get out like they were, and they become lonely, and we need that contact with someone else, and to be able to form friendships, whether it's online. I mean, it's wonderful. Why not use these gifts that we have of technology?
It's true, Lori, because I've even become friends with this woman over in London that gets on our Facebook, and we've been communicating back and forth, and it's just a delight, she's so interesting. She's got so many things to share, and that's what we want. I just want women to share with each other, their feelings, their outlook, their whole aging process. I said the one thing that's great about me turning 81. Well, there's a lot of things great about me turning 81, but I really like to share what I'm going through, and I've got some really good things that I want to share with women that kind of happen to you as you get older, that young women don't really necessarily know about.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's so good, because I feel like a lot of times women are sitting out there thinking, is this just me? When you're going through menopause, or suddenly, now I'm in a phase where I don't sleep at night. So, but I know by talking to my friends the same age, we're all kind of going through the same not being able to sleep thing. So, yeah, but there's just certain things that happen as we age, and it's good to know that we're not alone.
Yeah, I know it. It is. See, that's it exactly right there. It is good that you're not alone. My daughter, she's in Chicago, and she says even her friends, they're not really talking about menopause that much. And I'm like, really? Because that's kind of an old subject. That's something that I would think most women would be talking about. But I do think it's still hard for women to, if they don't have a platform, Lori, if they don't have a platform that they can talk to you and talk about things, then I think it is hard for them, because a lot of them don't talk to their friends, but they can talk to a stranger. So that's why I think what we're doing is so good, because we do have the platform to offer women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely love what you're doing. So is there a senior or someone throughout your life that's been a real inspiration to you?
Yes, there is. I am so glad you asked me that question. When I was in late 30s, 37, 35, 35, I don't know. And this woman, I moved in next door to her in St. Louis, and she was, 35. She was probably 25 years older than I was, 25 or 30, I'd say maybe 25. Anyway, she had a clothing store, and I went to work for her in her clothing store, and it was like one of the best times of my life. And I ended up buying the store from her, and we opened up 3 stores and ended up buying the last one from her. And it was just such a fun time for me. Very stressful, but still fun. So one day she served champagne every day. Everybody can only have one glass, but we served champagne. So we were having a really slow day, and it was like snowing outside. Nobody was coming in. And I looked at her. We were having a glass of champagne, and I said, do you ever just wish maybe you hadn't done this, or maybe you shouldn't have opened this store, and business isn't good, and all the worries and everything? And she looked at me straight in the face, and she said, honey, listen to me. When the day comes that I don't like my life, that's the day I'm going to change it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I raised my daughter that way. I really believe that. If my life isn't the way I want it, I'm the only one that can change it. You can't change it for me. My husband can't change it for me. Nobody can, but I can. And I used to tell my daughter when she's growing up, if you don't like the way things are going, then you change it. It's up to you. So I got such good advice from her. I had more fun with her than I had with my own friends that were my age. Here she was older, but oh my gosh, we'd go to Dallas on these buying trips, and she was so much fun. So yes, she was a big inspiration in my life.
Well, I think that is such great advice. If you don't like it, your life, you can change it. And that is so true for any age, whether you're 18 or if you're 95, you can still change it, you know?
Nobody else is going to do it for you. You've always got to take care of yourself because nobody else is going to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you got to take care of yourself. Even before that old saying of, you know, the mask in the airplane, you got to put it on, take care of other people. Before even that, I was saying that because I thought I had to take care of myself, and if I wanted to take care of my child or if I wanted to take care of my friends, then I have to be strong. So I'm a firm believer in that.
That's really important always, but especially right now, especially people who, I mean, I feel like women, we're in roles of, you know, we're mothers, we're daughters, we're a lot of times caregivers of our senior family members. And now with COVID going on too, I see a lot of women who are just putting themselves last and they're giving everything they have to take care of everyone else, but they're not taking care of themselves. And I know some women feel like it's selfish to say, I need to do this for myself, but it's never selfish. You do need to take care of yourself and look out for you.
Right. I mean, that's just that is so important. I can't stress that enough.
So for people to find you, they can find you on your website, which is agingbutdangerous.com. And then they can find you on Facebook, and it's the same, Aging But Dangerous, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And your Facebook Lives, your coffee is at 10 o'clock on Monday?
At 10 o'clock on Monday mornings, coffee with Jean, and then Friday at 4 o'clock, cocktails with Jean. I always get on 4 o'clock with my martini.
And it really is just like sitting down and talking to a friend. I love watching your Facebook Lives. They're wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I have one more little bit of advice. Can I give that?
Absolutely.
I think it's very, very important not to be put in a box because of your age. They're always trying to put you in a box. And I always say, you know, if somebody puts me in a box, it better have a door on it because I'm getting out of there. Because, you know, you just don't. But, you know, that whole box thing of, you know, well, you're 50 years old, you're 60 years old, you're this way, you're that way. You know what? You know, that whole box. I remember I always hated it. I never went by Mrs. anybody because I hated that tag. To me, that was a box. I mean, in this whole age thing, you've got to be really careful not to let it define you and not let it put you there where you get kind of stuck. You just can't do that. I think so important not to fall for that age thing. I really believe in telling your age. I mean, whether you want to or not, it's up to you. But with Aging But Dangerous, we do believe in that. You know, tell your age and be proud of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good thing to tell your age because, and when I say I'm 56, some people think I'm a lot younger than 56. And it's like, well, you know what? What does 56 look like? You know? I mean, I'm still busy. I feel like I'm still 30 doing everything, probably even more. And probably I'll be honest, I feel like more comfortable in my skin the older I get and doing things, doing a podcast. If you told me when I was 35, I would do a podcast, I would have laughed at you because I was very shy. So now here I am doing a podcast. So I think it's just such a gift that we have for getting older and becoming more comfortable in our skin and just embracing who we are.
And Lori, I'm telling you, it just keeps getting better. It just keeps getting better and better. And, you know, you talk about the skydiving. I'm not afraid of heights, so it was not hard for me to skydive. The women that were afraid of heights, that impressed me so much to go up in that airplane and jump at 15,000 feet. And I mean, it's a scary thing. But the women that were afraid of heights that did it absolutely blew my mind. But you know what? They proved to themselves that they could do it. They proved that we heard back from so many women. This one woman said, you know, oh my gosh, it was so fabulous. I went home, I divorced my husband, and I started my own business. And we're like, no, we don't want things like that to happen. But it gave women so, you know, when you walk off that drop zone and you have jumped out of an airplane at 15,000 feet, you feel like you can conquer the world. So for those women that did that, it was like, I was just amazed because but it's back to that same thing, you know, and this is what we really believe in. It's just kind of like pushing the envelope too. Mm-hmm. Just push that envelope just a little bit. Do things that are a little bit out of your comfort zone. Not jumping out of an airplane, that's even more, but just something little out. Just push that comfort zone a little. Get that dangerous in there a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's easier the older we get to get stuck in our comfort zones. And I've talked to people on the show before who thought, one friend of mine who was in her 40s, and a friend was suggesting she become a realtor. And she's like, oh, no, I'm 44, whatever. I'm too old to learn something new. And her friend said, what are you going to be doing in 20 years? And so she did. She went and got her real estate license, and she is just killing it. She's amazing, just has built such an incredible business. But it's interesting. Like the older we get, especially women, we try to limit ourselves, and we need to not get stuck in our comfort zones and just blow the doors off. We really do.
Exactly. Yeah, just absolutely. That's a good way to put it. Blow the doors off. And I do run into people all the time that say, well, I'm not going to jump out of an airplane. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that. I'm not pushing that. But it's still, that the models that got up on that stage and walked down that runway that had never done that before, I'm telling you, that would be very hard for me to do. That would be hard for me to do. But, doing things like this or getting on TV or, doing other things, it doesn't bother me at all. But walking down that runway and just learning new things, and just keep it going. We got to keep it going. And we need other women, Lori, to help us do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah. I mean, we need other women to kind of help us, give us the energy and the chutzpah to do it.
There you go. Well, I am 100% with you.
Good.
Absolutely love what you're doing. And I want everyone to be able to find you, to go to your website and sign up for your newsletter. I just signed up this weekend and I'm excited.
Good. Yeah. The newsletter tells you all about everything that's going on, and it'll talk about the membership program too and everything. Yeah. The newsletter is the key.
Great. And then hopefully, I know we've got the vaccine now for COVID. So hopefully in a year or so, maybe sooner, do you hope to start doing more events again? Is that all kind of, yes, I know it's all on hold. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Live events.
Okay.
And we'll be in your city.
Yay. Well, I'm going to come meet you in person then.
I know. It'd be fun.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. You're just a joy and such an inspiration. And I just love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you, Lori, so much.
Sure. Well, okay. So guys, thanks for listening. And as always, to find information on aging, on any of the topics we have discussed, you can go to my website, which is loriwilliams-seniorservices.com. And please share the episodes, especially this episode. Share it with your friends and your neighbors and your family. We just all need to really push ourselves outside of our comfort zones and just realize we can live life to the fullest, whatever age we are. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.